other folks to join. Hey everyone, and welcome to Outreach Committee meeting on March 5th. And we can go ahead and kick off this call, Ria.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rachel. This meeting is the meeting of the Confidential Computing Consortium, which is a community focused on open source license projects, securing data in use, accelerate the adoption of confidential computing through open collaboration. Every member is welcome, every project is welcome that meets our criteria. We are open and transparent collaborative community, and as members, contributors, and leaders, we pledge to make this participation in this community a harassment-free experience. Because this is a Linux Foundation meeting, it is guided by the Linux Foundation antitrust policy. If you're unfamiliar, please go to Linux Foundation/antitrust, and if you have any questions, reach out to myself and Rennie, who will help you along. There's also some good training on that if you need more information. There's our agenda points for today, which have been circulated before the meeting. Anything else to be added?
Before you proceed for the agenda, so App mentioned that he has conflict for today's meeting and he would like to table the members badge to next meeting, so we can go ahead and then add that to the next meeting's agenda.
We can do that. Thank you very much. Yes, I noticed he mentioned we're not going to vote on anything today, but here is the roster of members. And over to you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rian. Welcome, new members. We got a couple new members. I don't know if they're in the call today, but if you're new to the meeting or if are just joined our community, and please and welcome. And we're super excited to have you here and really look forward to your contributions. If you haven't introduced yourself or if you're new, please feel free to share a little bit about yourself and what interests you about the Outreach Committee, and we'd love to get to know you.
I just introduce myself. My name is Haitao Huang. I just joined the community as the TCA, the new TCA. So I used to work for Intel, mainly in really deep in the plumbing side of the confidential computing technical side, kernel, user space, runtime. Now I'm just excited to join the group and support the community.
Yeah, welcome, Haitao, and then really good to have you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to introduce yourself?
All right. And if you feel you want to introduce yourself later in the meeting, you are also welcome, or in chat.
Sounds good. And again, welcome, new members. Really excited to have you. Move on to next slide.
All right. The approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. So the meeting's minutes for February 19 has been sent out for review on the mailing list. I have not received any corrections or feedback on that, so we'll assume it is accepted as is. We don't have quorum, so unless there's any specific objections now, we'll just resolve it that the minutes are accepted. Hearing no objectives, we can roll over to the next. Rachel?
Yeah, a couple announcements. Just really wanted to provide an update for everyone's visibility. And since last time we met, and there are a couple updates I would like to share. And first is job site. Again, CCC jobs page is live. So if you would like to post a job, please just reach out to Linux Foundation PM staff and also join the conversation on Slack in hashtag computational computing jobs. And the second item is IDC white paper. And in last meeting, and I've shared update that we've sent contract to IDC for review. And as of today, we're still waiting to hear back from IDC. So as soon as we have a response from them, and we'll share that with this group. And the third item is a CC Summit call for paper is due this Friday on March 7th. So please go ahead and go to the website and also use the link that I shared in the last meeting and to submit the paper to make sure that you have your content submitted by then. And on the side note, as Platinum sponsor, and CCC has 1 keynote speaker session, 2 breakout sessions, and a booth this year at the CC Summit. And last meeting, I sent out an interest form. And if you're interested in helping out with either keynote speaker session, so that means if you have content that you would like to submit to speak as a keynote speaker, or if you would like to speak at 2 breakout sessions, and then please feel free to use this interest form and to declare your interest and see which area you would like to participate in. And this is a great opportunity and for our members and to really kind of talk about some of the topics. And last year there were certain topics that we focused on, and we're still determined if we should limit some of those topics and into certain areas. But if not, then we welcome and members and to submit your topics in competition computing overall. And so that's it for the CC Summit cover paper. Another update is the CC Minute Summit cover paper. And we are going to help with this event as well. So please submit your sessions by March 31st. And Renew, can you please paste the survey link here so then members can go ahead and submit the sessions using the link?
Sure. So, Rachel, I'll just share the link in the minutes. I believe that there is some logo updation being pending there. So, everyone should have the link with the minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Renu, and that's really great.
A quick question. The mini summit, is this something that is new happening? Is this co-located with something else? Is it related to the CC Summit or is it something new?
It's different. It's a different event. So this is the real, this is a Linux Foundation event. So we added this, and it's gonna happen later than CC Summit. So it's a separate event. And so for the cover paper, and then we will send out a survey, as Renu said, and to ask members to submit your talk, and by March 31st. And in the first 2 weeks of April, and CCC will review internally, and based on scoring system, and it will pick the topics that's selected, and we'll send out announcement to the community members whose talk has been selected. So please submit your talk by the end of this month.
That's good. And is this co-located with the OSS or something, or is it again fully independent with that too?
Yes, it's co-located with the Open Source Summit, and so we did it last year as well, where we have the opportunity to do a half-day mini summit, all being recorded, and afterwards we share that on our YouTube channel. So it's usually very, very popular to speak at that event.
Great, thanks.
Yep. And if no questions, I can move on to other items. And another item is the CCC monthly newsletter. So the February monthly newsletter was published, and thanks for those who submit the content. Really appreciate the contributions. We're calling for content submissions for future months. I have refined the survey so that you can schedule for those content to be released in specific months. So if you like your content to be scheduled in like November, and you can go ahead and declare November to be the time that you would like your articles or blog posts or anything to be published in the newsletter. And so I would encourage members and to submit those content. This is a great platform to showcase any news that you would like to share. So that's for the CC monthly newsletter. And another topic is the Wikipedia. So in the last meeting, we asked committee members to review the Wikipedia page to ensure it aligns with our concurrent messaging guide and use cases. And review edits were asked to be completed by February 28th, and which is passed. And so as a next step, and it will take these feedback and have Mike, and who is owner of the Wikipedia page, and to make edits and suggest it. And then we'll go ahead and share updates with this team. And thanks again for all the feedback in reviewing the Wikipedia page to make sure it's aligned with our current messages. And the last update is India focus. So we brought this topic to governing board for review, as discussed and approved. And the next step is waiting on IDC paper to kind of get an understanding of what the Indian market outlook is. And then we'll go ahead and dive deeper into the specific action items. So that's the takeaway. And we would first wait for IDC paper to be published and wait for the survey results from that. And then we can plan accordingly based on our findings. So that's all the announcements I have. And moving on to next slide, please.
Mike's got a hand up.
Oh, hey, Rachel, real quick. So will you send me over a link to the Wikipedia feedback?
Yes, that's in the Google Doc.
Okay.
It should be, I don't have it handy right now. It should be in last week's minutes. If you give me a moment,
Yeah, I
I'll
have it.
look
I
for
can
it.
take it in the chat.
Okay, all right. Great, thank you, got it.
Yeah, you're
All right.
welcome.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, so next up is marketing, and I assume that would be led by Angela. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Just going to give you all a quick update that since we have confirmed the logo, we are now currently in the works of refreshing the website as well, and including the social channels too. So here are just some snapshots of where we've been updating, including all the logos on the website. And we're currently also working on refreshing the committee logo. So as you can see on the slide here, we have the older version and the new version. So we do need to get approval from the committee before proceeding with the decision to the creative service. Do we want to discuss here, or do we want to talk about it sometime else, some other time?
I would go with Rachel. What's your thought? Should we go with lazy consensus? If there's no objections, we roll with it, because it's the same logo, it's just with the color scheme updated. If I have my thought.
Was this the logo that we previously approved?
So, which was not all that prominent, is if you go to the website and you go to the committees there. So the committees had their own logos just on the website. It was an ask last year to have those logos there, but the color scheme has not been updated yet with the renewal.
So
And
these
what
are
is the icon? Is that because this is the first my first time seeing those icons.
so these are not been updated on the website yet, and they are just so the creative service basically just changed up the color palette based on our new logo. The
I
design
see. So these icons are already there. Is that what you're saying? Like icons?
so these
Yeah,
are the old ones.
So the only place that we use those is at the moment is we only use them on the web page where we announce this is the committee. So we have committee logos, we have the artwork also inside the repo, but we have not changed the colors for these to match the new palette.
Got it. I see. So the change here is the color change to make sure that it's consistent with current color palette. Is that correct?
And the logo, the confidential computing, the format of that has also changed.
Right. Okay, then so the icon itself is not being changed. It's just like the color and then the palette.
No, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's good with me.
Anybody objecting to us changing the color palette and the logo and the font to the new style? Angela, I take silence as a yes. Thank you very much.
Cool. I'll yeah, we'll get that updated. And for the newsletter, we have sent out the February newsletter last week. So if you're subscribed to the mailing list, you should be able to receive that already. And we also updated on the website as well as the January newsletter. Yeah, next slide, please. So since we had a really quiet month in terms of social media activities, this is just the social media metrics for LinkedIn specifically in a nutshell. And I would also go back to January. So yeah, next slide, please. So January, we had 11 posts. We had 2,100 followers, and we had an increase in impressions and followers as well. And these are some of the top posts that we had. And I see Mike raise your hand.
Yeah, hey Angela, just not being a much of a social media guy. Are you mining the newsletter for material for posts? What's the link between like what's the news in the newsletter versus what we post?
So you mean the content of the newsletter?
Yeah, I guess what I'm wondering is, so when we submit, if a member submits an item for the newsletter, do you then mine that newsletter content for material to be in the social posts?
We don't do that, I believe. So we usually just promote the newsletter itself and direct
Okay.
people to read the newsletter.
Okay. I would maybe suggest if things are getting a little thin, if it feels like it's lacking material, that maybe individual items within the newsletter might be worth sending out with kind of a wrapper of CCC around them. You know, hey, congratulations to CCC member company X for this news. Link back to the newsletter or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And that actually leads to the next slide that I'm going to talk about. So we do have a list of members that joined in the past few weeks, and we are preparing for an announcement for them. So that includes a blog announcement and social media announcement. At this point, we're currently waiting for some questions to be confirmed by them. So that's why we're kind of pending on posting them. But once these information are collected and confirmed by these member companies, we'll be proceeding with social media posts and blog posts.
Okay. And I guess I would encourage, I mean, if we're interested in doing that, of saying, hey, CCC member company had this news recently, I would encourage all the folks on the call to, if you have something, take greater advantage of the social feeds that we've got. Send news to Angela, or just kind of repost back to the thing and we'll get it to her.
Yeah. And I did notice that we have a channel on social media on Slack. So if you have any social media requests, feel free to send a message and tag me there, tag me or Dan. And we also have the ticket. So feel free to send a ticket on any social media requests as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angela. This is great. I really appreciate you doing all of this.
Yeah, and then the last point is the CCC mascot, and we have a survey going on, and we just look forward for more participation. Hopefully, we can get more feedbacks by March 19th. Yeah, and that'll be all for me.
Can you throw the link to the survey in the chat? I think we can maybe do some real time.
I'm about to stick it, if I can just find the chatty bit here. It's going to arrive just now, so do open your link and give us a survey outcome. Thank you, Angela. Can I roll to the next slide?
Yeah. I think that's Rachel's slide, right?
All right. Thank you very much, Angela. Rachel, over to you. Right.
Yeah, so this is for the blog review and newsletter content. And so, again, if you have anything that you would like to submit for the blog ideas, and Angela is going to be the marketing lead and to help with the blog post. And so please feel free to submit that to me or the committee members here, or use the content form that's listed in the slide. And then we'll go ahead and have these reviewed and posted. So thanks again, Angela, for driving this. And really appreciate your efforts so far. It's really great.
All right. The Half Day Summit, sorry, this should have updated. So we have opted in for the halftime summit that we announced last time. We got it booked, and the CFP that was discussed before.
Yeah, Rian, any updates for the OSF event?
No,
I
so
there's no updates.
OSF, we are in our bi-weekly meeting around events. We're busy discussing. We're looking at waiting for the contract, and we're going to send that along.
Okay. Yeah, so that's all the items that we have for today's meeting. Any other business, any things, and before we move on to CCC outreach metrics? If not, and I'll hand off to Mike. So Mike, would you like to share updates for the CCC outreach metrics project?
Yeah, let's go to the next slide. So what I did was looked specifically, specifically more at the events metric area. This would be the metric one, grow awareness of the confidential computing cell in this. Thinking about the number of quality conversations or engagements that we have in an event, call to action click through from the event, and audience count for our in-booth presentation, or our panels and in-booth presentations and sessions. So if we want to go to the next slide, what I was thinking about is like, okay, how do we start counting these things? And I basically, I think there's three things that each event should try and do. The counting the quality conversations one is this is going to be highly subjective, and it's also going to be very driven by the folks who are staffing the event. But I mean, it could be as simple as, our standard booth kit who comes with a jar and a bag of marbles. And, for every, when you are standing booth duty and you have a conversation with somebody about confidential computing, they ask some questions, you tell them a little bit about a technology, marble in the jar. If they ask you, which way is the bathroom, no marble in the jar. But I think it's this would be a way to just keep track of how are we doing in terms of quality engagements in the booth space, because if we basically wind up spending 6 hours looking at our phones, we're not really getting our money's worth for the investment. So that is there might be a digital version of this, where we can get an app on our phones or something like that, when you have one of these, you basically, say add one quality engagement to the app, and then we can submit the results electronically. But it could be as simple and tactile as marbles in the jar. The second one is follow up and engagement from the event. So this is intended to measure, when we tell people we have an engagement with people, or we make a presentation, how many of them came to engage with the CCC as a result of that exposure. And so I think one of the things that we need to have is a website, like a standard event follow-up page on the website. And its sole purpose is a gathering place for event engagement. And it's going to basically say, hey, welcome to the CCC. What do you want to do? So, thanks for coming to our place. What do you want to do? Do you want to learn more about confidential computing technology? Do you want to find technical papers? Do you want to join a project? Do you want to become a member? Do you want to contact us? And this would be the main landing zone. So in order to get there, the folks in the booth or the speakers at an event would be equipped with, a standard QR code that drives people to that page. So if you're working the booth, that particular shift in the booth, on the table, on your badge, on a business card, is that QR code. And so if someone comes in and said, ask some good questions, you say, hey, there's lots of great information on the website, zap this QR code and it'll take you right to it. That would be another way to drive engagement. And we can count the number of follow-ups. It's like how many people clicked the QR code to go to the page, how many people went to each one of the different categories from the event landing page. And then the last one is just counting heads at panel and session attendance. So whoever was the speaker, or somebody who was there and had the time to just basically send an account. I think I would say those might go to Rian or Rachel as the kind of the main contacts, and we would include that in part of our summary and metrics for reporting out on the success of the event. All right, that's what I was thinking about this week.
Thank you, Mike. This is really great. Thanks for continuing to drive this initiative, and any feedback from the audience here.
So just in terms of operationalizing, I don't want to cut off. Go ahead. If you have a question, please raise your hand. But I just want to, before I forget, does the committee, I haven't been the primary contact at an event yet. So do we send a pile of gear to the show, like a roll-up banner or a tabletop stuff? Is that do we have a kit that we send out to the event that the group that's working the event uses?
Normally that is discussed with whoever's going to be at the event slightly before. So like the event committee meetings that we have. So most events, if we look at KubeCon, we had a pop-up banner and we had some giveaways and some CCC stickers and things like that.
Okay.
The pop-up banner that I mentioned now in the chat normally have a QR code. And that QR code just goes to the website. So if you want to implement what you suggest, we need to work with, I'm not sure, probably Angela, with your team, to set up something that will track down back to a counter that says so many people scanned this QR code going to whichever contact. And then for CC Summit last year, we basically the same thing. We had a pop-up banner with all the latest member logos, and then just tablecloths for the booth, and again stickers and some other giveaways.
Yeah, and I think with that kit, that's where if we go for marbles in the jar, that's where we would need to put that as part of the standard kit. So when the banner goes out, the stickers, the business cards, or the little tabletop thing with the QR code, that's would be included in that kit. So that's one piece of physical action that we need to take to implement that part of the plan. The digital one, the QR code one, we would need to create a standard event follow-up QR code and add a page that is event follow-up page, instead of just sending it to the CCC main website, because then we can't discern between event-driven arrivals versus just other traffic generation activities, search or whatever. By creating an event follow-up web page that the QR code leads to, and the event follow-up web page might launch to specific pages within the main CCC website, but that will give us count of event scans leading to arrivals at the event page, and then counting where did they go once they arrived at the event page. Okay.
I agree with your approach that you're probably going to have a web page that cannot be reached in any way from the website via any other link other than scanning the QR code, and then you just put a hit counter on that specific page. That should be easy enough to do.
Yeah. And a thought for folks is, do you want to I mean, the simplest way to do this is you basically have one QR code for all events that stays good forever. And you wouldn't be able to distinguish between somebody who clicked in or scanned in from KubeCon versus RSA. If you made event specific QR codes, you could tell where, what code did they scan and where did that event hit come from. So you're going to get more granular measurement, but it also adds more levels of management to the endeavor. And, we want to stay as management light as possible. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Mike. And I also wanted to share some of the feedback from the governing board. So I presented this to the governing board, and they really liked the idea, and so they really appreciate us doing this. And I also wanted to share one specific feedback, and it was they would like to emphasize the need for a dashboard or kind of visualization tool to track the changes in engagement. And I think that's aligned with what we had in plan initially. It just have like end deliverable that's able to help visualize um, efforts and changes and also engagement, and so then it's visible to all the committee members to make sure that the efforts that we're doing and members contributions are aligned with outreach committee's goal and also the competition committee consortium's overall mission. So that's why we're doing this effort. I really like the idea, and I can help out with the dashboard efforts to make sure that it's visible and then easy to access for the members to see our efforts and how that's being turned out. Any other feedback or questions? If not, then we can move on to the next slide. Yeah, so this is the update that I mentioned previously. We're currently on IDC to provide us with the feedback for the contract revision term. We proposed to expand the current 12 months to 18 months, so then we have more time to access the paper and then reuse the paper. So that's it. And moving on to the events, I'll hand off to you, Rian, and for the budget update.
Events, nothing new on the budget, nothing changed since last time. We're still well on budget. We still have a bit of a reserve for later in the year, $400,000, but the rest we have planned for almost $300,000 to be spent already. So nothing concerning there yet. So OC3 silver sponsorship, we're still in discussion on that one. As well,
That
and
needs to be
RS.
updated. So we're platinum. Oh wait, sorry, that's OC3. I was thinking. Yeah, no,
OC3. Yeah, I
yeah.
think we have signed the contract for OC3 if I remember correctly. I'll just have to check. And then RSA, we're gonna have a big booth that we need to start thinking about what we're gonna do there and encourage members to participate and make use of our booth. Which just take us to the overview. If there's any questions on the overview of events for the year.
Yeah, no other business, but for the slide 28, the status of call for paper is already out. So that needs to be updated.
All right. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of the show. If there's any other business that anybody want to raise. Hearing none, I will go with a no, and thank you very much for attending, and we're going to give you back.
Hi there, sir.
Yes, Sakul.
Hi there, please. Yes, please. So we wanted to know that if you also collaborate with the OCP security working group, Open Compute project. I mean, if there are, yes, please, collaboration with them. Hello?
Not that I'm, yes, not that I'm aware that we're collaborating with OCP. Anybody else that knows differently?
I don't know of any collaborations in that space, but I can check with Intel. I mean, I can see what Intel's up to, but knowing our OC3 engagement is really focused just on a lot of issues like cooling and management and other things. It's not so much specific use cases of internal SOC functions like confidential computing, at least that I know about. I'll check, but I don't think we have it. I don't think from an Intel perspective that we have anything to share there.
Okay, yeah. Since I participate in those calls in the OCP, and then we had a question on collaboration about attestation with the confidential compute consortium. So I thought, I mean, I'll see if and since at least the TAC team, the technical advisory committee of the CCC, they contribute to attestation, right? So you think that I would rather speak to them, to the TAC, about collaboration with the OCP on device attestation, platform attestation?
Yes,
I think yes, yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just I think we're both about to agree that the TAC would be a better gateway to the technologists that are working on the different attestation methodologies and things like attestation standards. So I would say that would probably be the best approach at the CCC to find out how CCC and OCP can be connected.
Sure, absolutely. Much appreciated.
And the TAC meeting actually happens tomorrow, and then in next week they have a very specific attestation special interest group meeting. So both of those would be helpful for you. So if you drop me a message in Slack with your email address, I'll make sure that you get added to both of those events if you want to.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm on Slack. I will just send my email address in the chat right now.
Okay, do that.
Yes.
And I'll catch it there.
Yes, I do join the TAC calls like sometimes, but sometimes there's a conflict in the meeting time. That's problem.
And if you
Thank you.
If you miss any of our meetings, they're all recorded and available on YouTube. So drop me your email address. I will add you to the attestation meeting then as well.
Okay.
Which would
Much
get you in touch with the right people. Anything else?
Much
Thank you.
Thank you. I just had the email address in the chat. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. I've got that. Anything else? In which case, now I give you 19 minutes back. Thank you very much,
Thank you everyone
Have a
for
good week.
participation. Thank you, Rianne. Thanks. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye. Have a great day.